The Molecule of More. Why we do what we do. It is an interesting book that captures two important aspects: things which are in our reach and things which are not. To know the things which are in your reach, you have to look around. The things you can touch, you can feel, you can see, you can control. And to know the things which are not in your reach, you can just look outside your window. The tree outside, the houses there, the friend far away, things which are not in your control. This book explains that everything about our life, every aspect about our life is guided by these two things, which we can control and which we cannot. And to do all these, our brain uses a chemical called as dopamine. Dopamine is the chemical that tells you to look into the sky and ask God for all the answers that you have, which people here cannot answer. And also, dopamine tells you to go behind someone even though they are strangers to you. Dopamine is the chemical that tells you to keep looking for more. It never allows you to settle. Whereas, in opposite of dopamine, there is a chemical called as H&N, here and now chemicals, which are the neurotransmitters. The here and now chemicals, they are just making you happy for what you have right now. And dopamine is the chemical that makes you dissatisfied with life for what you have. And that is the reason you will see why so many people, even the richest people on this earth, they are never happy, because the dopamine inside themselves does not allow them to settle down or to calm down. It's always like, look, there is a better car. Look, there is a bigger ship. Look, there is a beautiful person out there. Look at your spouse. Oh, that person is better than what I have now. Why not pursue the other person? Dopamine is the chemical that is the cause of all the creativity in this world. And also, it is the chemical that is the cause of all devastation, because it doesn't allow you to settle. That's why you ask this question to yourself, that why am I pursuing what I am? Why am I not happy with whatever I have? The answer is this: because you have dopamine in you. And versus the here and now chemicals, the dopamine plays a stronger role because the chemical makes you happy. It makes everyone happy to buy a beautiful car. More the better, more the better. And the most important thing, money. Just because money is exponential in nature, there is no highest amount of money on this earth. So every time there is an anticipation of greater amount of money, the dopamine chemical starts figuring out to come into your brain and makes you feel excited. And that's why when a sudden pay raise comes to you, you feel very exhilarated compared to the regular paycheck that you receive every month. Similar to that, a friend of yours who is very nice to you and isn't very much happy with you, you are ready to go after another person because this friend of yours is not able to make you happy anymore. And when you go to the another person, it's more happy feeling because dopamine makes you expect things out of the unknown, out of the things that you don't know. And it always keeps telling you, go ahead, you will get it. Go ahead, you will get it. And that's the cause of this world. One thing after another, one invention after another. And that is for absolute good of this world. But then why is the world under so many circumstances where there is no happiness? To reach this answer, you need to find out that this feeling of anticipation is always more beautiful than the feeling of getting something. For example, planning for a vacation is more beautiful, more interesting, more exciting than actually landing up to a vacation. Like when you're planning for a vacation to a place, all you are seeing is, oh, I'm going to go to Australia in this trip and so and so. But when you actually reach there, you have to figure out how you need to reach to different places, which hotel you have to stay, what would be the nature of the hotel. And when you reach the hotel, there'll be different things waiting for you. And that's the difference between the happiness of anticipation and the dissatisfaction after getting what you actually anticipated. Isn't it beautiful to know that anticipation is like getting something and having something is like thing in your hand? You know, the desire to have something is always more lucrative than actually getting it. Let it be a promotion. After the promotion, you feel like, oh, I've got it. Now what next? Let it be, going to a vacation. After the vacation, you feel, oh, now we have done it. What next? It's always what next. And that's the nature of dopamine. Dopamine is the chemical that tells you what next, what next, what next. Because not having an agenda for what next is the end of dopamine. And when there is end of dopamine, the feeling inside you is very, very difficult. It's like a despair. It's like you're not doing anything. It's often, right, people ask you, what are you doing? Oh, you're in the same company for very long. What's there? What's going on? Why don't you move? Why don't you get an upgrade in your life? Why don't you go to study somewhere? Why don't you go after XYZ? It's always like this. Why don't you do that? With an anticipation that there is something better waiting for you that you're not getting with the here and now. Think about it. The Molecule of More is a great book that shows you how these things like love, money, desire, how they're always taking us into the lucrative and the dreamy world of anticipation. And when the real world actually happens, you're not ready for it, or you're rejecting it, or you're looking into something else. Now, what's the solution of this? The only solution of this is to understand this chemical dopamine and also understand the here and now chemicals, and to bring a balance between your dopaminergic requirements and the here and now chemicals. You have to have desires to live in this world, but the desire should not be to the extent that all that you are doing throughout your life is desiring but never settling down to enjoy the results of your hard work, to relax, to calm down. You're always looking for what next. Isn't it pathetic to see human beings always running after something? You start from the stock market to corporates to innovations to anything you like. You will see nobody is there to enjoy those things. Everyone is running behind one thing or other. Once if you understand this, you might calm down a bit, you might slow down a bit and relax and enjoy what you have got for yourself. Thank you so much.